their chances well and scored a few good goals as well. So a very, very good day for them, because there wasn't an awful lot expected from them. I didn't expect much from them at all. I don't think the crowd did. The crowd seemed to be very anxious when they were playing to get ahead. And,
well, they've been talked down so much for 2 or 3 years at this stage that they were going to be an absolute failure.
Yeah, so it's probably not a bad way to go into the tournament when you look at expectations. But they were good. You know, they much better than everybody expected. So they'd be happy tonight, getting off to a good start like that. Good chance now of coming out of the group.
Well, that's the thing, and suddenly it can change the complexion of a tournament, because they sort of take on a life of their own, and all the build-up, you're looking at it thinking Egypt with Mo Salah if he's fit, and Uruguay with Godin and Atletico Madrid-based defence and the brilliance of Suarez, that they're the two favourites. Yet suddenly now Russia have a bit of confidence, and they have 3 points already.
I'll tell you what happens, I think, in that position, Nathan. Obviously the manager picks what he considers to be his best team, right? And if they get a win like that today, it'll be same team again. If you get a loss, now you're making changes. You know, now you're starting from scratch again, and the confidence is down. Whereas those lads now, he knows his team. He knows his new team for the next match, bar an injury, of course. That they've done their stuff. Whereas if you lose, and sometimes you get a bad day, and it would still be your best team, but you're forced to make changes because it was so poor on the day. So getting a win. It's like any like it was in the Premiership, or any team gets on a winning run. Same team again. Whereas you're losing, what happened? What have we got to do? Then you start making changes. Sometimes the changes are worse than the team that you originally started with. So getting the result that they did today sets them up for the next game. You know, same again. So there's continuity and more, the players playing more and more matches.
Is that wherein you've been looking from afar at World Cups down the years, that maybe the biggest difficulty is for managers? So you mentioned, say, league games. You generally have a week between them, and you've time to reflect properly and maybe calm down, and you're not as emotional as you were, and you can decide actually rationally, that was the best 11 players. It just didn't happen. Let's go again. Whereas in that white heat of a World Cup, with the intensity, the media interest that's there, it takes a strong manager, an experienced manager, to actually hold their nerve and think, listen, despite everything, I'm not making 5 changes.
Yeah, well, it very seldom happens, Nathan. You know, most of the managers panic a little bit. I mean, that's why you've been going back a long time to '66 when England won it. I mean, Ramsey had to make changes, because they started first 2 matches, didn't play well at all. I think they got 2 draws. But this was a time when the wingers' situation was changing in a big way. What happened in those days, like the fullbacks, in my day when I started and before, were big lads who would dive in, as they say. Now, what happened to football over the years, the fullbacks were getting smaller and smaller and quicker. I mean, the likes of Tony Dunn, who played for us, and Ray Wilson, who died recently, and George Cowan, were very quick lads. So wingers weren't going past them. So in Ramsey's case, what happened with England, they had very good wingers, but they weren't going past the players for the first 2 matches. So he was very good, Ramsey. What he said was, well, if they're not doing that, then they're not really contributing anything. So, because don't forget, Alan Ball didn't start the first match, and Martin Peters didn't start the first. They were midfield players. So then they became the wingless wonders. But that was in the middle of the competition, you know, and it was a brave move for him to make. But that was a drastic move he had to make at that particular time, and very good. But the best thing is, if like some of the managers in the job for 2 or 3 years, and actually when you're in the job for 2 years, you should definitely know your best team. So you're playing your best team from the start. And if you get a terrible start, a lot of managers have to say, well, I've got to make changes. Haven't considered the first 11 being the best 11 over for 2 years before that. You know, so things become a bit of a mess in that particular way. So from Russia's point of view, which we get back to, Nathan, like, it's great for them today. Man said 5-0 win, that's great. We got 1 injury today, we had to make changes, but we're going into the next match. So you get what's called, we all call it settled side, which is not easy in international football.
That change you spoke about, and I'm going wildly off topic now, but from big, strong fullbacks to the smaller, quicker players.
Yeah.
Why did that come about?
Well, the fullbacks originally, when Stanley, I'm going back a lot of people won't know who I'm talking about, Stanley Matthews and Tom Finney were 2 of the great wingers. Now, when you come up to the winger, these were big, strong wingers who would get tackled in, you know, get their tackles in. They'd be tough guys, you know. They used to say, well, he's a good player, he kicks a good winger, you know. But what they do is they dive in, they commit themselves to a tackle. And the likes of Stanley Matthews and Finney and a lot of these guys, the control was so good, they nip past them. Now, obviously, people copped on. That's not the way to do it, right? What we need is guys who are as quick as the wingers, or maybe even a bit quicker than we, and don't dive in. So the wingers are committed now to actually beat them. Right. So that's what happened. So the managers over the years, changed them. Like Ray Wilson, was left back for England in the World Cup, who passed away recently. And Tony Dunn was one of our lads, one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League for 10 years at least. George Cohn, and all these lads. Even today, the fullbacks, you don't get big fullbacks who dive in. They're quick and all of that. So wingers became obsolete. Right after, around that, so Ramsey made that. So, and he was right, because the wingers weren't going past the fullbacks. The fullbacks were staying on their feet. They were quick. You couldn't go past them, right? So we brought in Alan Ball and Martin Peters. But that was the big change in football. It changes all the time, Nathan, as you know. Like when I started first, there was 2 wing halves, right? The centre half would be back on his own. And then in Bobby Moore's day, for example, and after, one of the midfield players went back into the back 4 to make it a back 4. But before that, for years, it was a centre half on his own and the two wing halves. So it's changed over the years, with Guardiola going again last year. It's changing all the time. But that was a dramatic change. And most people then, after the World Cup, because Ramsey was blamed for getting rid of the wingers, because most of the other managers watching it said, well, that's the way to do it. I'll get another player in midfield. It became 4-4-2 rather than 4. Actually, it was 2-3-5 or whatever it was anyway. That originally, but fullbacks was a dramatic change.
And why do you think that came about? Was that, so we're talking late 50s, early mid 60s? Was it that the game was going in a way professionally, that wingers were becoming faster, that the training they were doing, they were lightning quick, and the big tall fullback couldn't cope with that anymore?
Well, before when the fullbacks were diving in, the wingers didn't have to be lightning quick.
Right.
What was the change was for the fullbacks to stay on their feet and to jockey the winger, right? And in other words, stay on his feet, and he had to beat him. But they were so quick, they were getting as quick as the wingers, if not quicker, Nathan. They weren't able to go by them, So the attitude, well, why have the wingers? That's what Ramsey decided. Because they played in the first 2 matches in the World Cup, didn't play well at all. They got 2 draws, and they weren't going well. So he made that dramatic change. And of course, there's a copycat effect in football, as we know. Once that happened in the World Cup, the start of the next season, most of the managers were doing it.
Yeah, which is generally
and it's never come back.
Yeah. You can get your text into 53106. John is live with us in studio. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, on Twitter as well, if you want to leave a comment, and we'll get to them between now and 8 o'clock. So we've been talking about management and settle sides and the benefit of that heading into a tournament. And then we got to go on to Spain and the worst possible preparation, where they end up sacking their manager 2 days ahead of the World Cup. There's probably never really been a situation like this, but when you think of dressing rooms, and unusual as this is, do you look at a dressing room with the experience of Iniesta, of Piqué, of Ramos, all of whom have won World Cups and might be playing their last World Cup, and expect that sort of experience comes to the fore over these couple of days, and that somehow the players take charge and actually everything will be fine? Or is this potentially catastrophic?
It's disaster, Nathan. The idea of a manager is somebody who leads. And in my experience in football, you could get Iniesta and Ramos and these guys, and they could have totally different ideas on the game. Being great players, but they could have totally different philosophies on the game. And that's why when you get a manager, he overrides their philosophies and say, okay, I know what you think, but this is what I want you to do. And they insist on it. Now, what can lead now to it is chaos. Because if Ramos is a strong character and he comes to the fore, Iniesta comes to the fore, and 1 or 2 other players come in, it's chaos. Because you won't get those 4 or 5 players agreeing that this is what we should do. That's how you get the chaos, anarchy in it. So the new man is coming in. We don't know what he's going to be like. There's 2 things can happen, I think. For example, it could well be that the manager wasn't popular with the players. We don't know that, but it could. I've seen it where the players, people, it wouldn't be popular. They might be glad to get rid of him and show we can do it without him, and go with the new guy that's come in. Or else it could be the new guy is not so good, he's a bit weak, and then the players take over, and that's when you get the chaos.
And do we know that after 20 minutes tomorrow night?
Well, it might take a little bit longer than that, Nathan, but it's not, it can't be good, it definitely can't be good. I mean, this fella's been in charge of the team for two years. I think they've been unbeaten for,
20 games.
20 games. So he must be doing something right. That doesn't mean the players like him, They might respect him, and that's what he wants. He's not bothered about whether they like him or they respect him. It's a big blow. I don't understand the president doing what he did, to be quite honest. It seemed to be that he reacted in a personal way, that it was an insult to him that he only learned beforehand that the manager was going to Real Madrid. Well, I think in this situation, I think you've got to swallow that. Let him do the job. He's going to do the job for Spain anyway. You know, if he goes to Madrid afterwards, it's after the World Cup, and it's not going to do anything. The fella's going to do I'd say the players knew he was going to Real Madrid, to be quite honest.
You don't think that he's undermined, because Luis Rubiales is the president of the Spanish FA, so he only came in May and sort of staked a lot on Lopetegui. He offered him a new 4-year deal straight away.
Yeah.
The first he heard about this was 5 minutes before Real Madrid announced it, where Real Madrid called him. Yeah. Lopetegui didn't even have the courtity to tell him that he was leaving. Does that not show a lack of loyalty that simply is unforgivable?
Yeah, I think it was wrong. But in the situation that they're in, I think the president should be doing what's best for the team and for the country, not to be sacking him out. Okay, so he's going to Madrid afterwards. He was always going to Madrid afterwards. It doesn't mean he's not going to do the job while he's there. You know, whether the players react to it or not, what he can say is, look, all the players want to do well. They're in the World Cup, but they want to do well for their country. So whether the manager is leaving after the World Cup won't affect them, because they're going to do their best, and he's had a good run with them. So I think the president has taken it in a personal way. Not very nice what he did. He should have made him aware of it, or hoped that the information wouldn't come out. But I think he should have told the president and keep it quiet between themselves. But I mean, if we told him 4 weeks ago he was leaving, would he have sacked him then?
You'd have to say it's very doubtful, because that kind of thing
does happen all the time. So it's an insult. He's taking it in a personal way. This is an insult to me as the president. Well, I think he should put the country before his own feelings in this particular way, and say to the guy, look, I'm not very pleased what you did. I think it's a bad move, but at this particular stage, it would be wrong for the team and for the country, and I think it is wrong for the team and the country to sack him now.
Fernando Hierro has come in, who was a brilliant player throughout his career and has been involved in the Spanish setup as a sporting director. So it's not as if he's coming in from the outside completely. What does he do over these 48 hours? Do you try and get on the phone to Lopetegui and ask him what his plans were, what his team selection was going to be? Do you suss out the players, what they've been working on in training?
No, he'll have his own ideas. This is where it's difficult, you see. Like, he's had a particular job with the players, and he's had a particular relationship with the players. And when you're a number two, you can be pally with the players. You can put your arm around them and say, you know, you've been left out of the team, but don't worry about it. You can do this and that. Now, the second in can have a different relationship with the players than the actual manager. He's not leaving them out of the team. The manager's a so-and-so. He's leaving me out. He doesn't like me. Now, don't worry about it. You'll be okay. So he's got to go from being, and what in my experience with second in commands, being pally-wally to being in charge now. And what will happen, there will be a certain amount of those players, maybe in the first team, who don't actually like him. We don't know that. Do you know what I mean? And it's
I suppose there's probably 2 years of conversations to players who were just outside the team going, if I was manager, you'd be in my team every week.
Exactly. That's what second in commands do, to keep the lads going. Oh, don't worry about it. You know, I think you should be in the team, and all that type of, that's a different relationship. Now he's got to be Mr. Bossman, and if he makes decisions that the lads that he's got on well with, what's this fella up to? You know, he fancied me as a player for the last 2 years. Now he's not leaving me in it. It's impossible to know.
Yeah.
But it's not good. It can't be good, whatever way you look at it. This manager's been in charge for 20 matches. They got to the World Cup finals. They're a good team. They've got a lot of young players. They're settled in, and he's gone. I think it's a definite minus, certainly not a plus for the Spanish team.
Yeah, I guess when I talk about those players that could be leaders, Ramos, Piqué, Iniesta, that can flip very quickly to suddenly Ramos sees himself as a leader, and Iniesta sitting in the corner going, who does your man think he is, trying to take charge?
There's always leaders in the dressing room, up to a point. The manager is the leader, Nathan. The manager's the leader. Whether it's a strong character, he has to be stronger than any of them. And if somebody says in the team talk, like when I used to say Don Reed was a strong manager, if there was a team meeting about certain things, he'd say, okay, you can have your say, which you would, and then he'd say, okay, this is what we do. No, well, hang on, I don't agree with that. That's over. He's the leader. I mean, that's why Jack Charlton was successful with the Irish team. I certainly didn't agree with everything Jack did, but that's what he believed in, and he didn't leave any doubt with any of the players. Jack would be the type to say, what are you talking about? You get out and do it. Never mind that effort. That's what I want you to do that. You do it. Like I said to him when with Jack's philosophy on the game, because we have different philosophies, I said, but Jack, the way you look at the game, I said, if your Bobby was Irish, he said he wouldn't get in the team. He said he would if you did what I told him to do. You know what I mean? In other words, Bobby would have to say, okay, Jack. But Jack would insist on that, even if it was Bobby. So he's a leader. You wouldn't necessarily disagree with what he says, but it's better having somebody, a manager, that you can persuade individually, because then the players know that. So I'll go to him and I'll persuade him, this is my philosophy. So then you get chaos then. The manager has to lead. And that's why a lot of managers, I mean, all the great managers I've known over the years, Nathan, whether going back to Stan Cullis or Ramsey and all these great managers, Shankly, they weren't popular with the players. Didn't like him, most of them. Didn't like him. I spoke to a Wolves guy years ago about Stan Cullis, one of the most successful managers of all time, long time ago. And I met him this lad was an English international, I met him about 12 years ago. I said, how did you get on with Cullis? He said he was a great manager. He said he was the biggest so-and-so I ever met in my life. But he played for him.
Yeah, and they were successful.
You know, and a lot of the things I heard with Shankly and that, a lot of players wouldn't, you think, well, they'd love him. Or, that doesn't happen that way. They respect him. That's what they want. They don't want love. And he always said it last year. Remember, there was something on about the players, or the players didn't like this. He said, I don't care. I'm not here for the players to like me. I'm here for the players to do a job and to do what I want them to do. So it's not quite the pally-wally situation that a lot of people think from the outside. And that's why we're getting back to the Spanish guy. We don't know, Nathan. You know, the other guy might be good coming over, but he won't have the same influence. He couldn't have as a number two as the top man. It's a different job altogether.
Good stuff, John. We want to talk about England as well. You can get your text in 53106, but we'll take a quick break.
Off the ball on News Talk.
A new car doesn't have to cost the earth. Ford's eco-technology maximises efficiency and minimises emissions, which is not just good for the environment, it's good for your wallet too. And to save you even more, if you place an order with your local participating Ford dealer by June 30th, you can get an incredible clean-up bonus of up to €6,000. Choose performance, style and power and experience a real force of nature. Clean up with Ford for 182. Ford. Go further. Terms and conditions apply. See Ford.ie for details.
Golfers, McGurk's Golf special offers. 20% off most clothing brands. Free €80 gift voucher with every electric trolley. Galvin Green waterproof jackets wear up to $399. Now only $199. Titleist lightweight cart bags now only €99. Get Trackman custom fitted for your next clubs today. McGurk's Golf. Drive a better bargain.
It's the challenge of a lifetime. How to make business meetings more interesting. Guess what? We met it at the Red Cow Moran Hotel. Our 14 new meeting rooms stand out from the crowd. We've designed luxurious, innovative spaces to cultivate creativity and defy boredom. From now on, meetings will never be the same again. Stand out from the crowd at redcowmoranhotel.com.
Some jobs need a master, a mortgage master, with dedication, focus, and expertise. If you need results, you need someone with decades of know-how, with no distractions, no time wasting, and no faffing around. Not a jack of all trades, but the master of one. For a job as important as your mortgage, that's EBS, the Mortgage Masters. Search EBS Mortgage Masters to find out more. Lending criteria, terms, and conditions will apply. EBS DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Bruce Betting are one of Ireland's leading bookmakers. Download the iOS app today to see why Bruce Betting are giving you more for World Cup 2018. Bruce Betting, your World Cup bookmaker. In store, online, and now on your phone. Please gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
Hi there. Here I am again at the 1933 Furniture Company in Navan. Well, you do have to get around to keep up with the latest styles and trends. And the 1933 Furniture Company is certainly worth the journey. Take their new range of Natuzzi sofas in soft Italian leather. Absolutely beautiful. From Parker Knoll and Neptune to Halo Living and more, you get real quality here at comfortable prices. The 1933 Furniture Company, Navan. Because good furniture is hard to find. Sale now on.
Some things never change, but we have. Topaz is changing to Circle K. Don't worry, we still have the best coffee, our creative food range, and our famous Miles fuels, which my customers always come back for. I'm Michael from Circle K, Kilmahill. Circle K, new name, same people.
Sean.
Yes, Sean.
Here's the ad for Spirit Lillis O'Donnell, Red Cow in Baldonnell.
Does it mention how we've been selling Ford cars and transits for over 30 years?
Let me check.
Or that we're Ireland's only transit centre of excellence? Or that our motorcraft team serves Ford trade inquiries countrywide?
No. It just says, let the two Seans do the talking and visit spiritlod.ie for all of your Ford needs.
Well, this is the best radio ad I've heard in years. Spirit Lillis O'Donnell. See why our customers soon become our friends. spiritlod.ie.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
You're very welcome back. John Giles is still with us in studio. 53106 is the text number. We have a pretty broad question in from Carl, who's watching on Facebook Live. How does John think England will do? Let's talk England. We've just been chatting about Gareth Southgate. Give us your thoughts on how it's gone so far and how it may go.
Yeah, I don't fancy them in the World Cup. I'd probably get out of the group, but I don't fancy them to do well. I think so far he's been a very, very good PR man. I think he's done a very good job with the press, because sometimes the press can be on people's backs, like Sterling and that. I think he's done a very good job there.
I mean that in real, because sometimes people would say he does a good job in a PR point of view, and it can be a negative that they're putting things out there, but actually you feel that...
Yeah, I think there's the press where most of the players, Alan Shearer's, Ian Wright's article, it's better than being criticised before they even go. But that's one element of it, Nathan. The second element is what's going to happen on the pitch. And I don't think he's actually done that very well, because he's gone from 3 at the back to 4 at the back, and the system, the system, I keep hearing that the system, it's nothing to do with the system. It's getting your best players to play in the best position. It's a very easy tactic, as they say. And he's been doing the job for over 2 years now. And he should really, and coming into the recent times, has been 4 at the back and then 3 at the back. That should be, when you get the players that you know are the best, actually you play them as often as you can, Nathan, because now you've got to get them to play together. You've got to get them into the right habits and that takes time. It takes time. I mean, I played with a very good lead, so I don't like to go back. Very good lead, very well organised for 11 years under Don Revie. And we still weren't perfect. There was still things to learn, bit by bit. That's how a manager does his job. To put the right back right on that, the left back right on that, right? Then somebody else right on that. Now, that's how the team gets better. You do it individually. Like you talk about Guardiola, who made the players better during the year. And obviously then the team gets better. But I haven't seen that with Southgate. There's too many changes, too many systems, there's too many for the players to settle down.
So on somebody like Kyle Walker, who's excelled under Guardiola, playing as a right back, he's playing at the right of a back three, which I think he even admitted himself he's not particularly pleased about.
He didn't want to do it. He's learned his stuff all year with Guardiola. He's happy doing it, and he's become a better player under Guardiola. Now he's playing in a different position altogether with Southgate. So the things that he learned with Guardiola count for nothing. So that's why you've got to pick the best players in their best position in club football. Now there are occasions where you've got 3 really great centre backs and 2 full backs not so good. Then I can understand you're doing it from that. But if you've got Walker and you've got Delph who are full backs and who have done well for Manchester City particularly, those players, in my opinion, for the last 6 matches, at least 6 matches, should have been playing together, because then you can put that right and you put right. I think England are going in, and I think the first team to play has never played together before.
Yeah. Well, Delph hadn't even been in the squad for the last couple of seasons.
Do you know what I mean? They haven't played 6 matches. The last 6 matches they've gone into a World Cup. That team, not all of them, are good, but start together.
Yeah.
Certainly start together. You get 60 minutes, and then the next day you put that. You should have done that, and you should have done that. That's how a team gets better. That hasn't happened, right? I think there's been a bit of PR stuff. Remember, he took the lads down for the commando training. I want to see that, Nathan. It really doesn't like does it. That's for 3 days. And it was to toughen them up and to respond when they come under pressure, like they did against Iceland. This has nothing to do with that. These are footballers. You teach them to play football. That's 3 days wasted, or 4 days wasted that they did in the commando training. They're not commandos, they're footballers. So you'll be training and you never get enough time with the players in international football to do what you want to do on the pitch. So I don't go with him on that. I don't think he's got a balanced team. I don't think he's got a midfield at all. You've got Dyer and Henderson, for example, in there. I don't know who else he's going to put in midfield. Let's talk about Lingard, but Lingard is a forward. Yeah, and it's very, very difficult for a team to play well at this particular level without a midfield. Certainly a creative force in midfield. Henderson's not going to get on the ball. Dyer isn't ever going to get on the ball. And I don't know who else he has in there. Now, he didn't leave many out because they don't have that many creative midfield players. playing in English midfield players, playing in... they're very good, reasonable at the back, very good forwards.
Yeah.
I think Vardy's very good, Kane is very good, Dele Alli is good, Lingard, he's got Rashford. They're overloaded there. Not bad at the back, but midfield, I mean, how they're going to create anything with Dyer and Henderson in the middle of the field is impossible.
So you don't think then, just before we leave England, that maybe he's built this solid base of a back three, wing backs, Dyer and Henderson, who just basically shut up shop for the entire game, and then you hope that a front three of Ali, Rashford, Kane, Sterling...
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Nathan, but see, front three, what happens in football, in my opinion, midfield players and like the Modric and these guys, they're the ones who create everything. They're the ones who link it from back to front, right? Full-backs can't dictate a game, centre-backs can't dictate a game, centre-forwards can't dictate it. The only way that any people can take is the midfield players, because they can go wherever the ball is. Centre-forward has to stay up there, centre-half-back was there. Now, if you don't have somebody to knit the back from the front, then the likes of Harry Kane are dependent on supply. If they don't get a supply, they're not going to be able to play as well as they can play, right? And that's what actually happens. If you've got nobody in the middle of the field like Dyer and you're saying they're at the best. I'm not saying you're saying it, most people say they're at the best when the opposition have the ball.
So Kane is brilliant because he has Dembele and Eriksen.
Yeah, he's got players like it, and actually Spurs could do it a bit more in midfield. To be honest, they're a bit unbalanced. They're even better at the back than England, and they're just as good at the front as England is. But in between, that's where you get the inconsistency with Spurs. But for England don't have anybody.
Yeah.
They just don't have it. And I've never seen a team being successful, Nathan, without a creative force. That's what football's all about. You got good fullbacks. Again, you take Armand is going, the fullback from Manchester, two fullbacks from Manchester City. They've got De Bruyne and Silva in the middle of the field. So when they get the ball, the likes of Silva, make it easy for them. Give it to me here. They've done the job. They've defended. Then they go on the overlap and all the various things they do. But it's up to De Bruyne and Silva now to start creating something. If they're not there, right, these lads are left on their own. You know, what do I do? What do I do with the ball now? And normally, what usually happens then is they knock it long and give it away to the. In other words, Harry Kane and these players that are playing up front don't get it where they want it. They have to have somebody to make room, and they lose the full back or lose the centre half or whatever it might be. If you've nobody doing that, it goes long, straight, and the defenders favour it all the time. So I wouldn't expect England to do well.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, John. I did want to talk to you about Messi, but actually you're going to be with us in studio for the next few weeks. And next Thursday night, Argentina-Croatia is going to be a brilliant game, and we'll be on air during that, so we'll chat a bit more about Argentina and where they're going. John, thanks a lot for that. Take a quick break. Up next, we're going to be looking ahead to the Connacht football final.
Join the conversation. Text us on 53106. Texts cost 30 cents.
Hi there. Here I am again at the 1933 Furniture Company in Navan. Well, you do have to get around to keep up with the latest styles and trends. And the 1933 Furniture Company is certainly worth the journey. Take their new range of Natuzzi sofas in soft Italian leather. Absolutely beautiful. From Parker Knoll and Neptune to Halo Living and more, you get real quality here at comfortable prices. The 1933 Furniture Company, Navan. Because good furniture is hard to find. Sale now on.
Volkswagen Financial Services have launched a new product that will transform your business. Interested? It can remove depreciation costs on your entire fleet, free up cash flow for your business, and with fixed monthly payments, your fleet costs will always be the same. Sounds good, right? It also has a low cost of entry, and if your driver needs assistance, they'll call us, not you. And this product's name? Leasing, from Volkswagen Financial Services. So whether your business requires 1 or 100 vehicles, our leasing product can benefit you. To learn